Notepad, nope. Work sketches, nope. .3D concept design, nope. Aha. My Eddsworld drawings. Hey guys, Pro and Go to it, and welcome back to Why I Like. So today's video is going to be about probably one of the most important franchises on this YouTube channel, which is Eddsworld. Now the surprising thing is, really, out of all the franchises I know, Eddsworld's the newest one I've become a fan of. At least compared to, all the other ones. Most of them are from my childhood, but Eddsworld actually occurred during my late teenage years, early adulthood life. And, yeah, so we'll just go straight into it. So, my history with the show. So, I never really heard about Eddsworld for the majority of my childhood, but I did know someone who is part of, or was part of Eddsworld. Thomas Tomscar Widgeweld, or just Tomscar. I grew up with his content. I always thought it was kind of funny with the As the Movie series and the other animations that were there, and also his real life sketches were also funny. I was always a huge fan of Tom, but obviously this isn't about Tomscar, this is about Eddsworld here, so we'll just get straight to that. So I recall first encountering Eddsworld when mostly I was just browsing Tomscar's channel, looking at videos that he was in, and one of the videos popped up which was called Eddsworld Fun Dead. Now, I didn't really think much about it at the time, but it was an animation and it intrigued me. So I clicked on it to see what to expect. And then I will never recall when I saw that jingle. Quite a unique one to get introduced to as well, but yeah, so I watched Fun Dead, and I actually quite enjoyed it. At least originally I just thought it was just like a one-time thing, so I just kind of just went past it. I didn't realise it was on a separate YouTube channel at the time. But in my eyes, I just saw it as another piece of Tomscar's work. It's quite similar to the stuff he made at the time, like with Little Deuce Deuce doing the music and the animation style and such. It reminded me a lot of Tomscar, so that was pretty much my first exposure to Eddsworld, but I think it truly kicked in during 2020 when COVID was going crazy across the world and we had lockdowns. I was living with my dad at the time, so it was mostly just to help get my grades for high school and college. But yeah, so once again I was just bored browsing, and I remembered when I was looking at a few animations that I enjoyed, and once again Eddsworld Fun Dead popped up. So I watched it again, and then I checked the channel that it was on, because I finally actually was old enough to realise what a YouTube channel is, and I saw all the other Eddsworld episodes. So I thought, okay, I've got a lot to watch, so I just started watching them all, and I really enjoyed them. I think the first episode I recall watching in lockdown was The End Part 1, as since those were the newest episodes, I just went straight for the ones on the top of the list. So I just clicked on Part 1 first, because I knew Part 2 would kind of spoil things. So that introduced me to Toad, and I have to admit, it's pretty convenient that I was pretty much introduced to all four around the same time. I first watched Fun Dead shortly before I moved to my dad, so it was like late 2019. But yeah, I consider it around the same time pretty much. But yeah, so I watched the end Part 1, Part 2. Did feel like the finale, as there was no other episodes, and it's been like a few years since then. So then I was like, okay, I'll watch the rest of the show. And then I saw the classic era, the era of Ed, found out what happened to Ed, and, yeah. So, I hope the family's doing okay. But, yeah. But, since it was 2020, I started to get a bit more creative, so I became a huge fan of the show, and I started to do some drawings. And the first few that I did was actually of Eddsworld. Since there was nothing much to do during lockdown, I was given some pieces of paper and I did some drawings, which is what I've got here. So these are some drawings I've had since 2020. I've kept them in a folder, but they're mostly just traces, really. Because I was actually practicing art styles at the time, because that's when I actually uploaded my first animation around that time, when I made these drawings. So I was experimenting with art styles, and Eddsworld was actually one of the main components for my animation career, I guess. So wait, I thought I just might as well show these to you, because it's some of my old art, and yeah, so anyway, we'll start off with the first piece. So it's mostly just a trace of the Eddsworld Legacy logo, which I'll show right here. So we've got Ed, Matt, Tom, and the Eddsworld Legacy shining. So yeah, I posted this just because I really liked the design of the logo and having the 3 characters on top of the logo. So yeah, I traced it. So there's some little details that basically I first draw it in pencil and then I went over it in marker. So yeah, to give it a bit more of a finish. I don't know if a bit of it's been edited or not, but it's pretty accurate to the actual picture. But I think there's maybe some little differences. But anyway, we'll just put that aside for now. So yeah, this next picture is actually an original. So this is how I used to draw the characters freehand, and I just made some random picture of Matt being dirty, and the other two, Tom and Ed, wanting to give him a bath. So it's like just like a somebody funny comic sketch. So it's just like, hey guys, what's up? And he doesn't realize that he's actually like stinking. So they're gonna try and give him a shower. Now the weird thing is here is the style of each character is actually a bit different. So you can see with Tom, he's more based off the End Part 1 style, especially in the hair. Ed's more based off the classic style, like from Movie Makers and Climate Change. And Matt's kind of like all over the place. I didn't know how to draw Matt that well. It's mostly just because of his formidable chin. It's not circular, so I had a bit of issues drawing him. So anyway, I'll put that aside. These next ones, I think, are primarily just drawings of the End Part 1's intro cutscene with these pictures, so I'll just go through a brief sketch with these. Hi, man. I'm recording. Can you please leave? Dog came in again. Jesus. Anyway. So let me just find which ones are which. There we go. Alright. Here we go. So we'll go in order. So here we have the first one. It's just Ed, Matt, and Todd from the first panel, which represents Hello Hellhole. The second one, which is I edited the Matt clone that wears Tom's hoodie, so it's actually Tom. So it's like it's all 4 of them together. So but this is supposed to be from Spares. So I also removed the assistant from the evil director there. Next one from Moving Targets. So with Ed, Matt, Tom, and Todd. Cool hat from Todd. I like his hat. Then we have, I think this is a zombie attack. I didn't add the zombie, so it's just Ed, Matt, Ed, Todd, and Tom. So, yeah. Simple, really. This is the Bathmobile from Zombie Nation. So there's Ed, Toad, and Tom. I didn't trace this one as accurately. I started to try and be a bit more original, but I didn't really do that well. Alright, there's Dudette next. No, wait, that's Toad's Adventure. Not Toad. Yeah, so there's Ed with Toad dead on the ground. Okay, this is Dudette next door. So there's Ed with his cat face and Toad in the background. I didn't add the window and everything. I mostly just drew the characters. And then Ruined with Matt's hat on fire. So yeah. So yeah, that was pretty cool. I know they're just traces, but I like to still have them as important pieces of work. And then I think this last batch is oh wait, there's one more sheet after this. So these next sheets of papers are a little character evolution of Tom. So since Tom is my favourite character, mostly because he's Tom Scar, or at least was voiced by Tom Scar, I did a lot of drawings of Tom. Specifically just how he looked in different eras of the show. So we'll just go from each order. So here we have classic Tom with his like unibrow. I don't know why I drawn him with 4 spikes, because he technically had 3 at the time. But yeah, so it's a pretty simplistic design there. And then we've got era 2, which is this is more around the time of I think Ruined and such. So yeah, there's classic. Here we go, a bit later on here. This is around the time of climate change. I can only recognize these primarily just because of the details on the hoodie. That's usually what recognizes these eras. I think this is supposed to be from Hammer and Fail, specifically, or What the Future. This one's from Space Face. It's not that well done. This is supposed to be Space Face Part 2 with Paul Tavord's first style. I went a bit overboard on the creases on his arms. And then the last one, which I think is the most impressive one I've drawn or traced, is the End Part 2. His version of Tom. I always liked the End Part 2, not End Part 2, End Part 1. I meant the End Part 1 with Paul Tavord, yeah. So, yeah, so there's a little evolution of Tom's sketch. And then there's this one last sheet of paper, which is, at the time, original design styles for the characters. So, I'll try to zoom in. It's not made in marker. So we have with Ed there. Yeah, I tried to experiment with some art styles. So we have Ed, Tom with a little beard, Matt looks quite well, and then Toad in the corner. And I've given like just little name indications. And of course, I've got a reference classic Tom. So yeah, that's pretty much all of the drawings I made back in 2020. But yeah, I was a huge fan of the show in 2020. During lockdown, that's mostly the stuff I would watch when I walked the dog. That's the music I'd listen to, specifically from Spares. I like the music from that episode. And yeah, it helped a lot, and it was also the inspiration for beginning my animations. In fact, the first couple I ever made were basically based off Eddsworld. The second animation on this channel, which is a animation on the digestive system, I tried to make an original character based off the Eddsworld art style, which would also be the concept design for the modern version, which is why I wear a teal hoodie. Originally, it was just a hoodie. I didn't actually choose a favorite color, but I would then choose cyan teal as my main color. I actually got a physical hoodie after I did it on the character. So yeah, and another animation I made was it has been posted on this channel, but it was a earlier draft, which is the Spares reject scene, where one of the Toms doesn't get a joke and sent to the rejects room, where that version was for Spares Reanimated, which I did submit for to see if it would get in, but I didn't get a response, so I'm assuming it was declined because it didn't make it into the end. But I never posted it onto YouTube, because at the time I wasn't uploading regularly, so it was just there, but I did post it onto Facebook. But yeah, it's pretty much been like that since. You know, actually, I might as well show you it, since this is Eddsworld related and I don't have no way to post it. So here's the little clip of the Eddsworld scene I originally made back in 2020.
Wait, how is that funny?
It worked!
And there we go. So I hope you guys liked it. If you do notice, it is in colour more than the actual one I made later on. Because obviously, since it was an animated for the submission, I made it in colour. But yeah, it looked quite bad. It was the third animation I ever made, so yeah. But yeah, really just after that, I would just well, just keep watching Eddsworld, and then when they came back later that year, I was over the roof. So I basically just kept track of Eddsworld since, and I was a little bit annoyed that I never managed to get any merch, at least until they announced the makeshift plushies and U2's figurines, and obviously I had to get them. So what other person would I choose but Tom? Even though he wasn't voiced by Tom Scar anymore, he's still my favourite character. He has like relatable attitudes. You may eventually understand why, because I'm not actually grumpy like Tom is, but you'll find out in the future. Anyway, so yeah, I've mostly just been keeping track of the show, watching new episodes, and then eventually trying to reanimate some of the actual things on my channel, which I did one recently with Todd speaking Norwegian, and then I even noticed when I made an animation, which I call Crash World, which is basically just the Eddsworld characters with the Crash Zoom intro sequence. That's been doing quite well, and I'm very happy. But I've noticed a lot of drawing mistakes during it, so maybe I might remake it, maybe not. But to be honest, I would like to make a more original style for the Eddsworld crew, because comparing my original character's design to the actual design I use for the Eddsworld crew, it is a little bit different, so maybe I might use that to try and make the Eddsworld crew a bit more original looking, and then it can, you know, stand out. But yeah, so why exactly do I like Eddsworld? Well, it's not really just why I like Eddsworld, but it's more why I like animation, because okay, so like I grew up with a lot of animation, so like say like Ed, Edd and Eddy, SpongeBob, Rick and Morty, and some stuff on YouTube like Element Animation, Jez Boy, Puffballs United, Henry Stickmin Games, and such. I've always been intrigued with animation, not just for entertainment, but you know, as a whole, because I was quite I'm quite artistic, so I did a lot of arts when I was growing up. But after seeing Eddsworld, it really got to me, and obviously, as you've seen, I started to do a lot of art because of Eddsworld, even though it's mostly just tracing, but I did do some original stuff. And yeah, and once again, that would also be basically the pinnacle of how my animation stuff started, even if my very first animation isn't basically off Eddsworld. It's kind of an original thing. But if it wasn't for Eddsworld, I probably wouldn't be where I am today with my art styles. So I will admit it is a little bit inspired by Eddsworld. Mostly just the hoodie thing, but I just want to thank Eddsworld for, well, being who they are, and I wish Ed was here to see how much of an inspiration, not just to me, but to everyone out there who's even become an animator because of Ed. Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have gotten Eddsworld the way it is now. And I also want to thank Tom for creating the Eddsworld legacy, and I can understand the hassle that he went through during, you know, production and everything, and I can understand why he left. Same with Tord as well. I feel like harassment can be a bit of a bad thing to go through. I hope he's doing okay. You know, he's a bit anonymous on the internet and everything, but still. I hope Matt does well with the show, and try not to overwork yourself. And yeah, so really, that's not much else I can really say, really. I mean, even though it's the newest franchise I like, I know technically Halo is the last one to have shown up, but compared, because I've known Halo for a long time, but Eddsworld's been only in the 2020s since I've known it, so really it's probably one of the most impactful franchises of my life. Even though Sonic's been my entire life, Eddsworld seems to have the biggest impact for me, so yeah. Well, I guess that's pretty much it then for this episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you check the other episodes, because it means a lot to me to make them all. And I can't get over how busy the My Little Pony video has gone. I mean, it's got over 200 views as of this video posting anyway. I guess people were intrigued, which has convinced me to at least finish the rest of them. So yeah, I'm gonna stop talking now, because it's been over 20 minutes now. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. Once again, yeah, check the others as well. As always, bro's gotta go, and I'll see you guys in the next one. It's pretty swell.